Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Srinivas Govinda Jaya Srinivas Govinda Srinivas Govinda Jaya Srinivas Govinda. Jaya Prahlad Narsimha Jaya Prahlad Narsimha Prahlad Narsimha Jaya Prahlad Narsimha. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Stottra Shata Srimad Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Samshila Prabhupada Ki Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, text number 10. Text number 9. Ingitagna Puru Prauda Ingitagna Puru Prauda Eka Ramascha Satvataha Eka Ramascha Satvataha Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavasam Amam Sata Bhutavasam Amam Sata Ingitagna Purupraudha Eka Ramascha Satvataha Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavasam Amam Sata Ingitagna Purupraudha Eka Ramascha Satvataha Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavasam Amam Sata Ingitagna Puruproda Yeda Rama Sasatvata Sattvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavasam Ingitagna Puruproda Ekaram Sattvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavasam Mamsatam Ingitagna, expert in psychic study. Purupraudaha, highly experienced. Eka, one. Aramaha, relaxation. Cha, also. Sattvataha, devotees or own men. Sattvatam Rishabham, head of the family. Sarve, all. Bhuta Avasam, all pervading. Amamsata, could think. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know Him as the One Supreme who dwells everywhere. Kindly repeat. The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know Him as the One Supreme who dwells everywhere. Purport. In the Vedas, it is said that the Supreme Lord or the Paramatma cannot be understood simply by the strength of one's erudition or power of mental speculation. Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. He can be known only by one who has the mercy of the Lord. The Yadavas were all exceptionally learned and experienced, but in spite of their knowing the Lord as the one who lives in everyone's heart, they could not understand that He is the original personality of Godhead. This lack of knowledge was not due to their insufficient erudition, it was due to their misfortune. In Vrindavan, however, the Lord was not even known as the Paramatma because the residents of Vrindavana were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord and could think of Him only as their object of love. They did not know that He is the personality of Godhead. The Yadus, or the residents of Dwarka, however, could know Lord Krishna as Vasudeva, or the super soul living everywhere, but not as the Supreme Lord. As the scholars of the Vedas, they verified the Vedic hymns, Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuta Divasaha Antaryami and Vrishninam Paradevata. The Yadus therefore accepted Lord Krishna as the super soul incarnated in their family and not more than that. Doesn't the Bhakti Vedanta purport? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, the specific misfortune of Yadavas is being presented here by Uddhava. So yesterday we saw Uddhava mentioned about the misfortune of this universe, of the disappearance of the Supreme Lord, due to the disappearance of the Supreme Lord. And then specifically he mentioned Yadavas are most unfortunate. And why they are most unfortunate? Because the Supreme Lord was with them, but they didn't consider him as Supreme Lord. They actually considered him as Paramatma. Ingita Gnaha Puru Prodhaha. Materially they are very fortunate. Materially they are very expert and well experienced. And they are expert in even psychic study. They can know the mind of others. Very expertly they can know. So, even gross level and subtle level, they are very, very expert. And Eka Ramas, Eka Aramas cha Sattvatam Rishabham Sarve. So, all these devotees very closely, even while the Lord is relaxing. Generally, relaxation is a very personal association. People don't relax anywhere in the outside. So this is very personal. So even though they were so closely associated with the Lord personally, even during this relaxation they were there with him. But Bhutavasam Amam Sata, they considered the Lord as the all-pervading, Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And they could not recognize he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not just Paramatma. So, this revelation that the Supreme Lord has three features, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, is nicely elucidated in Srimad Bhagavatam and nicely presented by the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. Whereas other sects, they don't talk about the different levels, the phases of understanding of the absolute truth. They consider all are one. But it is not so. Understanding of Brahman is a very, very far understanding of the Supreme Lord. Just like Prabhupada gives example, if you see a mountain from very far away, it appears like a cloud, a very musky area. As you keep going closer and closer, the details become more and more clearer. To such an extent that you will see people walking on the mountain, you will see stones, you will see trees, you will see goats. Similarly, when we realize, when we know the Supreme Lord very far away, not intricately, not detailedly, not intimately, then the Supreme Lord realization is Brahman. Brahman is an impersonal power. Some power is existing, which is running this world. Even considering that God is great, that God is great understanding is also impersonal. However, when we look at the Lord closely, more closely we try to understand, a much better and closer understanding of Supreme Lord is Paramatma realization. We understand that Lord is dwelling in everyone's heart, and the Supreme Lord dwelling in everyone's heart is there present in every, not only every heart, even every atom and molecule is there. And He is running the entire creation. Ekamshena sthito jagat, Krishna is saying. Vasudeva sarvamiti. So that is the second level. And the third level, the Supreme Lord, personality. Eko yo bahunam vidadhati kaman. That Supreme Person is satisfying all the desires of every jivaya. But He is also Nitya, He is also Chetana. So that Supreme Lord has all the attributes that we see in the Jiva. In fact, whatever attributes we see in the Jiva is only a sample. The original, the reservoir is present in the Supreme Personality of God. So that is the closest, most intimate and the perfect understanding of the Supreme Lord. So, however, this clarity is not there in other than Srila Prabhupada books. So we see that wonderful explanation by Srila Prabhupada on these aspects. So much clarity. In fact, once I was translating English, some article of Srila Prabhupada into Kannada. So I went to a very expert Sanskrit and Kannada scholar. So he wrote Krishna Paramatma, like that. Many places, Prabhupada, wherever Prabhupada is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, here, Krishna Paramatma, so said like that, Krishna Paramatma. Initially, I also didn't scrutinize it much. Okay, Krishna Paramatma. But when I presented it to my authority, he pointed it out. See, this is a wrong connotation to Krishna. Krishna cannot be addressed as Paramatma because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, see, these subtle things are there, which expert scholars or even other spiritual matas or sects, they are unable to realize the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan. So that's why Prabhupada, whenever he talks, whenever he says Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like a caption. Because otherwise, we will consider Krishna as another Paramatma. So that is not, that is a very serious point in Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. The realization of Paramatma is essential, but understanding Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate. So, devotee is not interested or satisfied with only understanding of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Paramatma, but also as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because only in the personal feature of the Supreme Lord, we can actually relate with the Lord, we can enjoy with the Lord and experience Ananda, the bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. The Satchidananda feature of the Jiva can be fully experienced only with the association of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, any other partial realization of the absolute truth, the Satchidananda is not completely experienced by the Jivas. So here, that's why Uddhava is lamenting about the position of Yadavas who were there with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they considered him as Paramatma. Those who don't know the difference between Paramatma and Supreme, they'll be thinking, so what is there? They'll be thinking. But there is a big difference between Paramatma realization and the Supreme Personality of God. Though certain places Prabhupada says, realization of Paramatma in every aspect of our life is a very essential part of advancement in Krishna consciousness. But then it is not the ultimate, it is not the final realization. In Bhagavad Gita also, in the 18th chapter, last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that Krishna gives the qualities of various varnas, Brahmanas qualities, Kshatriyas qualities, Shudras quality, Vaishyas quality. And he says, if anyone engages in their varnashrama dharma as per their duties, he can realize Brahman. He purifies his existence and he can realize Brahman. Everyone who is born in this material world is born with certain duties to be performed with the body. So that is varnashrama, varna. So when he performs his duties, that is like a worship of the Virat Rupa. So he gradually purifies himself. And by that purification, he comes to a point where he realizes Brahman. So that's why Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kangshati, samasarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhaktim labate param. So he comes to the platform of Brahma Bhuta, Brahman realization. And then he also comes to the point of Paramatma realization. Because at Paramatma realization, a living entity is able to see Samaha Sarva Bhuteshu, everyone in equanimity. Pandita Samadarshina, Sunicha Supakecha, Brahmani Gavihastini. He sees a dog eater, a Brahmana, a cow, and an elephant. Materialistically, all are different. One is low class, one is high class, one is big body, one is strong body, one is weak body. But Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki. But one who sees, studied the Supreme Lord and the Jiva, he very clearly sees Samadarshinaha. So that Samadarshina is a Paramatma realization, point of Paramatma realization. And then Krishna says, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Then he is qualified to engage in devotional service. You cannot engage in devotion service by Shochati Kangshati. One who is always worried what will happen in future. Kangshati, one who is always hankering, I want this to be happy. So this mentality, but one who has reached na Shochati na Kangshati by Brahman realization, one who sees every jiva as Samaha, he doesn't differentiate. Such a jiva will be qualified to engage in devotional service. And then Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschas. If you want to know me in total, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. Tattvataha, you can understand me only by bhakti. Complete truth. And just like Prabhupada gives example, a flower, the flower after some time, it is originally, in the beginning stage, it is in the form of a bud. The bud slowly opens up, and after some time, it withers and becomes a seed. So in that entire process, we are unable to see that someone is transforming the bud to a flower, the flower to a seed, and the seed to again a tree. No. So an ignorant man may think, okay, there is some power running behind all of this. So he appreciates, some power is there. One who is more ignorant will say everything going automatically. There is no God at all. That is more ignorant. Like Prabhupada gives example, a child, he is seeing train moving and he says, Papa, how the train is going automatically? Because the child doesn't know there is some force behind the train to run it, move it. So similarly, ignorant man, he may not know. He does not know that there is a force. There are some energies that are working, and behind the energy there is an energetic. However, little knowledge is there, he will understand there is an energy behind the bud to transform into a flower, the flower to into a seed. And the more a scientific kind of an understanding is there, he will understand that all of this cannot happen automatically, simply by energy. And thus he realizes that there is some energetic behind it. Energy, behind the energy there is an energetic. So similarly, realization of energy, Brahman, is not ultimate. The energetic is the ultimate. So that energetic Bhaktyamam Abhijanati can only be understood by Bhakti. And then further Krishna, he mentions about pure devotion. Macchittaha sarva durgani sarma karmani mai sanyasya. You offer all your work unto me. That is the best way of becoming a devotee. And then when Krishna feels that Arjuna is still not satisfied with this, then he gives the intermediate Paramatma realization. Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshe Arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva. And then Krishna says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. You surrender to that Paramatma who is there residing in everyone's heart. And then finally Krishna reveals, now I am going to tell you the most secret. And that secret is Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam. So Krishna has gradually brought from Brahman realization to Paramatma realization. But the most confidential knowledge, Guhyad Guhyataram, is actually not Guhyataram, it is Guhyatamam. That is the Paramatma, that is Bhagavan realization. So that Guhyam knowledge is Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Directly worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The next verse Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. It is confirming the previous statement by Krishna. One may think, okay, Varnashrama Dharma let us follow. Let us stick to our duty. One may think Brahman realization is better. One may think Paramatma realization is better. So Krishna eradicates all of that. And he says, simply follow what I say. Forget about all this dharma, that dharma, this is right, that is right. Just follow what I say. Maam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha. So, this clarity that Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan is actually a wonderful gift by Srila Prabhupada to the modern world. Otherwise, this is not known to many. Not even, they don't even speak about all of this. They think all are one, Brahman, Paramatma. Even the concepts of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan are all one, they think. So, in one purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within us, within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. So sometimes people, they say, I am lonely, I don't have any support, I am depressed. Why they come to that point is because they think that they are alone in the world, that no one is there to, especially at love failures and all of that. When they fail in their life, where all reversals come, they think they are alone. Actually, Krishna is saying, Suhrudam sarvabhutanam, I am your best friend. He is the super soul, he is the guide of all the living entities. Always is guiding all the jivas. And he is the controller of material activities. He is not only guiding the jiva, he is controlling all the material activities. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And he is the best friend, and therefore everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. The auspiciousness in life can be brought by surrendering to the Paramatma, who is actually the best friend. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavya Jaya Pujaschan. So there also Shukadeva goes Sarvatma, Bharata Sarvatma, one who is there in everyone's heart. About him you need to speak, about him you need to hear. Bhagavan Sattvatambati. It's another. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Riddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. O Arjuna, the living entity is within the body and the super soul. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also there. He is called Antaryami and Chaitya Guru. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, he is controlling everything. Sarvasya chaham ridhisannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So Krishna is very close to the jivas as Paramatma. He is there sitting right next to him. He is sitting there, two birds on a tree. Sarvabhutanam riddeshe Arjuna tishtati. So Krishna is confirming that not only he is the closest friend, but he is there very next to him. Then everything is being directed by the super soul within the body. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. To take his direction, one needs to be a devotee. And this is also confirmed, Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart. Krishna says, I am controlling everything. Now, when everything is directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is better to take direction from him only. He is controlling all the atoms and molecules. He is controlling everything. He is controlling me also. So, better part of valor. If I am really intelligent, then I should be thinking, anyway he is controlling everything. He is directing everything. Why should I not take direction from him directly? That's intelligence. Not to think that, okay, now he is directing everything, let me direct, let me control something. I will guide something. No, I also take guidance from him. And therefore, Prabhupada says, that's Krishna is mentioning, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So how that direction comes to the jiva? The process is satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, by love and devotion. If one offers his service to the Lord guides that jiva so that the jiva comes to Krishna. See, sometimes when we go to some karmis who are little religious, little devotional, they will say, Paramatma is guiding me. They will say, when I am doing business, suddenly I had some problem and I got this help. This is God's help. I was searching for a house, a beautiful house. I searched here, there, and I went to one place. He was about to cheat me. Suddenly, Paramatma helped me. So that time, sometimes devotees think, Paramatma helping him also, Paramatma helping me also. What is the difference? How can Paramatma help non-devotees? No, that Paramatma's role is that he guides everything. Not only devotee, non-devotee, even material elements also is guiding. The sun is rising, Paramatma's direction. The sun is setting, Paramatma's direction. Wind is blowing, Paramatma. Everything is under his control. But for a devotee that he guides, That is very personal. For other jivas, it is as per the karma. The guidance that Krishna gives as Paramatma to all the jivas, or everything in the material world, is as per the karma, kala, guna kala karma. But for the devotee, the Lord gives personal guidance. What is that personal guidance? Yena mam upayantite. How to come to Him, how to go back to Him. So therefore, anyway He is directing the whole world. Why I cannot take direction from Him for going back to God? In his Paramatma feature, Krishna is the old friend of everyone. According to Vedic injunction, Krishna is sitting with living entity side by side. According to Shruti mantra, Lord is sitting within the heart of every living entity as Suhrit, the best friend. The Lord is always eager to have the living entity come back home, back to Godhead. Sitting with every living entity as witness, the Lord gives him all chances to enjoy himself materially, but whenever there is an opportunity, the Lord gives good counsel and advises the living entity to abandon trying to become happy through material adjustment and instead turn his face toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. So a karmi, when he says karmi, I got a house nicely by Paramatma's mercy, direction. I got my business running properly because of Paramatma. So there, the Supreme Lord is not really personally guiding. He is desiring, okay, you do this. But for a devotee, if he desires, I want to do business. If he desires, I want to run a family, society, or I want to, the Lord may say, oh, no, not required. Better you surrender to Krishna, become detached from that. So the Lord brings the devotee from the material entanglement, from the material binding to liberation. And he is the old friend and the best friend, closest friend, Suhrud. Paramatma is our oldest. There is no friend in this creation who has been with us for so long. Sometimes we say best friend. That best friend position only Krishna can take. The Lord is in the super soul, seated in everyone's heart, and he acts as the Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within. However, he gives direct instruction only to the advanced pure devotee. So the Lord is sitting in the heart. One who is advanced pure devotee, who is satatam yuktanam, pritipurvakam, they are able to get direction directly from the Lord. But I am not doing satata yuktanam, I am not doing pritipurvakam. So then, whether the Lord will guide me directly? So, Prabhupada, unless you are a devotee, unless you are constantly engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, He cannot speak to you. He speaks, but you cannot hear. He speaks, but you cannot hear. In the sense, sometimes a living entity, when he is doing wrong, there is some voice from internal says, don't do it. Actually, that is Paramatma speaking. Don't do it. It is wrong. You will suffer if you do it. But the living entity cannot listen to that instruction because he has no qualification. So you have no ears to hear him. That is not possible. Krishna is speaking. Just like Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. It is open speaking. But who is hearing? Nobody is hearing. Nobody is hearing. They have got their own conception of life. Generally, death, whenever there is a death thing, they read Bhagavad Gita. And it says, Bhagavad Gita, anyone who is born, he has to die. Anyone who is dead, he has to take birth. So many things. But still people, they are hearing. But they are something, they are hearing it as auspicious mantras. They are not trying to understand the meaning out of it. Sometimes they read some Garuda Purana, hearing all the sinful activities, reactions of the sin. But after the entire thing is over, again they go into their materialistic activities. Like we went to Yamloka That exhibition. All are seeing so many things happening. But they come out and again they are doing their sinful act. So, the Lord speaks, but you cannot hear. Unless you are a devotee, constantly engaged in devotion, we will not be able to hear. So this is the catch. The Lord is speaking, He is the closest friend, but access to the closest friend is available with a condition. That is, you have to do 24 hours. Ratata yuktanam priti purvakam. So then what is the chance for us? So when a living entity desires to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, the Lord helps the devotee in so many ways as the Chaitya Guru or the spiritual master within. And thus the devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. By the mercy of the Lord, even a layman can compose prayers of the highest spiritual perfection. Such spiritual perfection is not limited by material qualifications, but is developed by dint of one's sincere endeavor to render transcendental service. Voluntary endeavor is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. Voluntary, no force. The Lord will not force. He may speak, voice. Sometimes people say, why can't God direct me to do only correct? No, He will not force you to do correct. He will give instruction, He will guide. But whether you follow or not is left to you. So, a person in full Krishna consciousness acts by the dictation of Krishna. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, dictation is received through the transparent medium of the spiritual master. So, that spiritual master, that Paramatma, who is sitting inside the heart as Chaitya Guru, whose voice we are unable to hear. Even we are hearing, we are unable to follow. That Paramatma takes the form of spiritual master. And when that spiritual master speaks, there's another level of voice, that hearing we get from that spiritual master. So when one is sufficiently trained and acts in the submissive faith and love for Krishna under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, the dovetailing process becomes more firm and accurate. This stage of devotional service by the devotee in Krishna consciousness is the most perfect stage of the yoga system. In this stage, Krishna or the super soul dictates from within, while from without the devotee is helped by the spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of Krishna. From within he helps the devotee as Chaitya, for he is seated within the heart of everyone. Understanding that God is seated within everyone's heart is not enough, however sufficient. One has to be acquainted with God from both within and without, and one must take dictation from within and without to act in Krishna consciousness. So actually whatever we are hearing from Prabhupada's lectures, all that is actually what Paramatma is wanting us to hear. This is what Paramatma wants us to say. So that Paramatma has expanded himself as the spiritual master. Through him we have got these books. So this is the Paramatma's words. So when we hear these words, we are actually directly hearing from Paramatma. So in the beginning a devotee is serious and sincere. When a devotee is serious and sincere, the Lord gives him direction from within to approach a bona fide spiritual master. When one is trained by the spiritual master according to the regulative principles of devotion service and is situated on the platform of spontaneous attachment for the Lord also gives instruction from within. This distinct advantage is obtained by a liberated soul. So, a liberated soul also receives direction directly from the super soul. One who is sincere and pure gets an opportunity to consult with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature, sitting within everyone's heart. The Paramatma is always the Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within, and he comes before one externally as the instructor and initiator spiritual master. The Lord can reside within the heart, and he can also come out before a person and give him instruction. Thus the spiritual master is not different from the super soul sitting within the heart. So when we see spiritual master, is actually the representation of Paramatma. Jive sakshat nahi tate guru chaitya rupe siksha guru haya Krishna mahanta sarupe. Since one cannot visually experience the presence of the super soul, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. So, why super soul need to manifest outside? Because we don't have vision, we don't have proper ability to hear him. So, it is not possible for a conditioned soul to directly meet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if one becomes a sincere devotee and seriously engages in devotion service, Lord Krishna sends an instructing spiritual master to show him favor and invoke his dormant propensity to serve the Supreme. The preceptor appears before the external senses of the fortunate conditioned soul, and at the same time the devotee is guided from within by the Chaitya Guru Krishna, who is seated as the spiritual master within the heart of the living entity. Then Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. Just like we work in some big establishment, if we can satisfy our immediate boss, that is the satisfaction of the whole company. So in a very big establishment, very big company, very big organization, so many levels of hierarchy, so many levels of employees are working. So the employee does not know what I am doing is whether it is satisfying the organization, whether it is satisfying the boss. But there is an immediate boss. He says, hey, do this, do that. See, supervising, everyone work like this. So when we satisfy that immediate boss, we know that we are satisfying the company. Simply the immediate boss under which you are working, if he is satisfied, then you know the company is satisfied because he will submit the report of his work. So the immediate boss submits the report of his work, so the boss becomes very happy, the ultimate boss. Similarly, Krishna is very kind. He is helping you in different ways. He is within your heart, Krishna is within your heart, Antaryami, Chaitya Guru, and is presenting himself as spiritual master, both ways, externally, internally. He is trying to help you. And when you are actually taking the advantage of that help, and if you are engaged in love and affection in the transcendental service of the Lord, then you can talk with God from within. God is within you. You haven't got to find out God in so many places. Anywhere you can sit down. But if you are sincere, if you are actually wanting to offer your service to the Lord, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, He will give you intelligence. Simply we have to become sincere servitor. So it doesn't matter whether one is a householder or a brahmachari or a sannyasi. He has to become first of all sincere servitor of the Lord. Then everything is complete. The Lord is within you. He will give you all knowledge, all enlightenment, all dictation, and He will make your life progressive. So like this, we get directions from Paramatma. To get the direction from Paramatma, we need to be qualified. That qualification is Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. But we are not at that level. Hence, the Lord presents Himself as external spiritual master, and when we follow that external spiritual master's guidance, who has been assigned to us by the Supreme Lord Himself, by this Paramatma, Chaitya Guru, and when we do that, we also start getting direct instructions from the Paramatma sitting within the heart. Now sometimes what happens while we are executing devotion service, we think that there is some Paramatma, there is some revelation I got. But we should not assume that revelation as whatever revelation, realization we get is that Paramatma is telling me to do. We should always check. There should be a check and balance. Because sometimes, because we are contaminated, we should accept that humbly, and we should understand that sometimes not only Paramatma is telling, Maya is also dictating from inside. So whether this is Maya's dictation or whether this is Paramatma dictation, therefore I take the guidance, support from Guru, Sadhu and Shastras to understand whether this dictation is Paramatma's dictation or whether this is Maya's dictation. So Maya is also speaking from inside. Paramatma is also speaking. And there are so many voices. So body is also speaking, mind is also speaking, intelligence also speaking. So there are so many voices inside. So whether, of course, only two classification, Maya's voice and, so Maya has body, Maya has mind, Maya has intelligence, Maya has ego. All these aspects are there. Krishna is one. So whether this is Krishna's guidance or whether this is Maya. So therefore we approach spiritual master, we approach sadhus, we approach shastras to understand whether what I am receiving inside my conscience is the Paramatma's guidance or actually it is Maya's trap. So any questions? That's why we have to check. No? We have to check, we have to consult Guru, we have to consult sadhus, we have to consult shastras and take a opinion, final opinion. We cannot simply think what I am thinking is Paramatma realization. Like one time, one cook, he made a mistake. So we asked him question, why you made this mistake? So he is saying, maybe Paramatma guided me like that to do mistake. So he is justifying his mistake. Maybe Paramatma guided me purposefully to mistake. Of course, I can say Paramatma guiding me to question you also. So like this, there are. So that we have to verify and confirm from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. We cannot assume whatever I am thinking is Paramatma's guidance. And that Paramatma's guidance, whether it is advancement for spiritual realization, that also is important. Because Paramatma may guide for your material advancement also, if your desire is very strong. If the desire is so strong, material desire is so strong, then Paramatma will guide to fulfill that material goal also. He will give guidance. Yeah, we should never reach, never assume that I have. We should never assume on the basis of how many years I am practicing Krishna, on the basis of I read so many books, I am very experienced. Here, Yadavas having expert experience, expert in psychic study, they are unable to realize whether Krishna is Supreme Person. So what is my experience? So we should never assume in that sense that at any point my thinking is Paramatma's realization. So we always verify. That's why devotees are writing to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, we are opening a house, we are opening a center in this particular place. This is the house, this is like that. Then Prabhupada writes back, oh, Krishna has guided you nicely. It's a very nice house, you take that house. Then again the devotee writes back, we have written, we have made agreement, so much is the rental that is fixed. And then Prabhupada says, Krishna is guiding you nicely, you go ahead. So Prabhupada is confirming. My spiritual master's blessing is on you, you are on the right path. You see, every letter is like this. The theme is this. Prabhupada is confirming that The service you are doing is as per Paramatma's guidance.
Okay.
And sometimes the devotee is doing wrong, then Prabhupada, no, this is not what you are supposed to do. This is not you are supposed. Sometime one devotee, he wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I want to organize a Sankirtan of all the temples and create competition. One Sankirtan. Prabhupada wrote back, no, don't do all this. You should not do Sankirtan for competition. Sankirtan is for loving. It's out of love we are supposed to do. Then one time one devotee asked, devotees are all sitting in the temple and gossiping. Spiritual Master, what should we do? I am feeling that it is. What do you think? Prabhupada writes, yeah, we are very much right. Gossiping is not correct. Why are they sitting inside a temple and gossiping? Let them go for book distribution, Sankirtan. They should be engaged always in Krishna's service, like that. So, spiritual master is always confirming whether what I am thinking, whether what. Let's say spiritual master is there. Otherwise, I am speculation. I'll go on speculating. Paramatma is telling me to do like that. Paramatma is telling me that I should leave Hare Krishna movement and go something. All these things will come. So therefore, we confirm our realization, our ideas. Yadavas, their idea, they are unable to understand Krishna. What a more example we want. Who are most expert. Yadavas were considered, were fearful. The world was fearful of Yadavas. That was their expertise, that was their influence. But even they cannot understand Krishna as Supreme Personality of God. So therefore, we take guidance from Guru. Oh my spiritual master, can I get clarity on this? Can I do this? Or in some emergency I do it. Later on again I get confirmation. Oh, I did like this. Do you think it is right? Some emergency we may have to take action. But immediately we consult. Oh, can I do this? What I did is right or wrong? And then if correction is done, okay, next time I'll correct myself. Like that. So we always get verified. Because that is sincerity. Sincerity is to know whether I am doing correctly or not. And do it in that way. Do something and show that I have finished it. Not like that. Sincerity means I want to do to please Krishna. That is sincerity. So if I do something for myself, because I want to do it, or I like to do it, and it may not please Krishna. Sometimes Krishna wants us to consult. He wants us to learn that you should consult your Guru. You should consult Shastras. Krishna wants us to learn that. He is more happy if you do that. So he may bring us to that point. So we have to be very, very careful in devotional service. What I am doing should be the right action that Paramatma wants me to do. Or in fact not Paramatma, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna wants me to do. For his pleasure. Haritoshanam. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. That comes through bona fide spiritual master, that instruction. Like, I thought Krishna Paramatma is okay, but when I showed it to my authority, he is saying, hey, this is wrong. For me it was okay, all fine, perfectly translated. Because we don't know the sensitivity. There is a difference between Krishna Paramatma and Krishna Bhagavan. We don't know. We are thinking all are same. Prabhupada says there is a difference between Krishna and God. Krishna consciousness and God consciousness. We don't know. We think God, Krishna, everything is same. No, Krishna means, Prabhupada says, that is very specific name of God. It defines who is God. God is very general. Anyone can be God. Anyone is Ishvara. We don't know, no. Like someone suggested, why international society, Krishna consciousness, why not God consciousness? No, God is very vague. God can be Brahman, God can be Paramatma, God can be Bhagavan. God can be President of America. But here it is very clear, Krishna. Krishna means his address is there, his personality is there, all that. So that very fine things we start getting from the guidance of spiritual master. Any service we do, perfection, we may think, I did it with all perfectness, with all experience. But then still, perfection is ocean, unlimited ocean. So still when we take guidance, we may get another level of revelation to it. We may get another level of revelation. So therefore, a devotee is always humble and meek. He consults, goes on consulting. Okay?
One more thing, as you told, but what Paramatma want to tell, we'll speak to the spiritual master. So that what spiritual master want to speak is written in the books and everything is given to us. Means now when we come across, means recently there was one devotee who was telling that Prabhupada has given only certain limit to certain, he has limited the knowledge to these books. He has not given higher. Means if we take this statement saying that Paramatma want to give only this knowledge to these for us, we need not worry about what about other acharyas have given or how we should.
Correct. Prabhupada said, if you read any book other than my books, it is sense gratification. Because after coming to Vrindavan, some devotees were reading that Goswami book, this Goswami book. So Prabhupada made this statement. If you read any book other than my book, it is sense gratification. That's what Paramatma is telling you now. So now that person who is saying Prabhupada only gave sadhana bhakti, not given raganuga bhakti in his books. But that's what Paramatma wants you to do. First you become perfect in that. It's not that it is not there, it is there. But right now, you are seeing only sadhana, basic Krishna consciousness, because that's your level. That's our level. Then when we start reading more and more, when we become more and more advanced, even the advanced devotee will get Raganuga Bhakti in the same book. See, in the very beginning, 1969, Srila Prabhupada got heart attack. Prabhupada wanted to go to India immediately for recovering. And Prabhupada was very doubtful whether he will come back or not, because the heart is very weak. And that time there are only 3 volumes of Bhagavatam written. So Prabhupada calls all the disciples who were there. And before he is leaving, about to leave to airport, he calls all of them and he says, all of you simply read my books. Whatever I have given in my books is sufficient for your Krishna consciousness. I have given everything. There are only 3 books. 3 volumes of Bhagavatam. So how Prabhupada is saying this statement? Because spiritual knowledge, the ocean of spiritual knowledge is not limited by the quantity of material boundaries. So we are thinking, what can Bhagavad Gita teach me? 700 slokas. No, in that 700 slokas, sadhana bhakti is there, raganuga bhakti is there, and beyond anything, if anything exists beyond that, that also is there. It all depends on the advancement of the devotee. That's all. It is not material, like the Srirangam Brahman. He don't know anything. He don't know, he is not literate, he is uneducated. But still he understood Bhagavad Gita completely. He came to Raganuga platform immediately. So like this, we cannot estimate, oh, these many books are there, this is the content of the book, that is sadhana bhakti. Now Prabhupada told, this is enough. 3 books only are there. Today, we got 80 books of Prabhupada. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and sometimes that also devotees say, no Prabhu, I will have to read some other Goswami books to fight argument against Mayavada, to get some knowledge. No. Later on Prabhupada says, if you read 3 books, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can defeat anyone in the world. Any scholar, any even scientist you can defeat. So 3 books also can defeat. 3 books that Prabhupada wrote in the beginning, 1969, if you read that conversation, Prabhupada says this step is more than enough. Whatever I have given, that is enough for your Krishna consciousness. Only 3 books are there. And the devotees also never went to India till now. What India they know is, what Krishna consciousness, that is what Prabhupada has taught them, that's all. So advancement in spirituality doesn't depend on the material arrangement or material boundaries, restriction. The same book, same situation, an advanced devotee, he understands Raganuga Bhakti easily. So the statement that someone is making, oh Prabhupada limited only to sadhana bhakti, is erroneous, it is not correct. It is not correct. A folk boy, when he reads, a devotee who has joined, when he reads, a devotee who is advanced after joining, he reads, more senior, all of them are reading same book and all of them are getting inspired at different levels. Understood, no? So like that. So we should not limit the knowledge of Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada has given to our material limitations. Okay. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.